All right, here we are at the Outdoor Retailer Show, and I'm very, very lucky to have the Director of the National Park Service, John Jarvis, here with me today. John, thank you so much for joining me.
No, it's a real pleasure. It's great to be here at this show as well.
Oh, absolutely, to see the industry come together, and I'm excited. This is an exciting year for the Park Service, isn't it?
It absolutely is. It is our 100th anniversary, our Centennial, and it's an opportunity to both celebrate 100 years of tradition and experience in these extraordinary national parks, but it's also an opportunity to plan for our second century.
Well, that's great. So that's obviously a big undertaking because when they started the Park Service, there was one, and now it's like
Actually, there were more than that. The first national park was Yellowstone in 1872. You can make some argument that in 1864, Abraham Lincoln set aside the Mariposa Grove of Yosemite during the Civil War, but he gave it to the state of California, and then it was later that it came to the National Park Service. So between 1872 and 1916, there were actually a number of national parks created that are actually older than the National Park Service itself. So in 1916, Woodrow Wilson signed the bill that created the National Park Service. So that's what we're celebrating, is actually the 100th anniversary of the agency itself.
Well, that's stellar. And now, in today's age, how many people visit the parks in general? If you know that you are basically responsible for providing the experience and protecting the parks.
So in 2014, we had 292 million visitors. That's slightly less than the population of the United States. To put it in a broader perspective of what 292 million visitors is, if you do it comparatively, that's more than all of Disney, all of national football, all of national baseball, all of national basketball, all of soccer, hockey, and NASCAR combined.
So it truly is America's greatest treasure.
Yes, I would agree with that.
And what brought you to the Park Service? What was your first experience?
Well, I grew up in the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia, backed up to National Forest land. Basically grew up in a traditional outdoor hunting, fishing, Boy Scouts. My dad was a great outdoorsman. We loved the outdoors. And I went to college, got my degree in biology. And right out of college, I took a trip out west and I saw these incredible places like Yellowstone and Yosemite and Lassen and Olympic, and so that sort of piqued my interest a little bit about working potentially in that system. My brother at the time was working for the National Parks Conservation Association, and he suggested I apply, and I applied for a job, got a seasonal job in 1976, and have been working for them ever since, 40 years.
That's amazing. That was always kind of my dream job that I never pursued was to be a national park ranger.
It's a great job, and I was a ranger in Guadalupe Mountains National Park, in Crater Lake National Park, North Cascades. I got my first superintendency at Craters of the Moon, and I spent 5 years in the bush of Alaska at Wrangell, St. Elias, and came back as superintendent of Mount Rainier. I spent 7 years as the regional director in the Pacific, and then in 2009 I got the tap on the shoulder and went to Washington as the director.
Well, congratulations, and what a storied career. Out of all your experience, do you have a favorite that you go back to time and time again?
I have many favorites. I mean, each individual place that I worked, I have a special feeling for both, both for me and my family. I mean, my kids were born at Crater Lake National Park in Oregon, and Crater Lake defines snow for me. We would average 500 inches of snowfall a year, and we had 22 feet of snow in my house on Easter Sunday. So much snow, I had to shovel the second-story windows to get light into my house. You go to Craters of the Moon, and it's so quiet out there on the lava fields, and lots of wildlife. When we were in Alaska, in the middle of the winter, 40 below, 50 below zero, and the northern lights, moose in your yard. I mean, each place has its sort of special, powerful feeling. And then as director, getting to go to Selma for the Selma to Montgomery walk, to be in Ebenezer Baptist Church, or to stand beside Thomas Jefferson's desk where he penned the Declaration of Independence, to bring the Pope to independence. I mean, it's just an amazing number of experiences.
Okay, I'm sold. I'm in. Where do I sign up? So what would you like as we come into the 100th anniversary and there's going to be a lot of awareness? What do you want the public to take away moving into the next 100 years?
So I think first and foremost, American citizens need to be proud of this concept, this idea. The parks are a physical asset, but they're also an idea. And it's our idea. It's a truly American idea. Some would say the best idea we ever had, which is to set aside the very best of the land, the most important cultural icons, the most important sites that created the American experience, and set them aside for the people. Not for the wealthy, not for the royal, but for the people, for all the people, and to preserve them in perpetuity for the next generation as well. So one is to feel patriotic pride in that. The second piece is to recognize that they belong to you, and you need to invite all Americans to come and have this kind of high quality experience. And so for me, the Centennial is all about engaging the next generation in finding their park, finding that what meets their core values and really enhances their own personal experience.
Thank you so much. And if you haven't been to the parks, shame on you. Get there immediately. But in the meantime, if you tune into the Mountain Adventure Film Festival, we have 68 films this year, a lot of which took place in national parks and national park sites. So we'll give you a visual reference to get you excited to go have your own adventure there. John, thank you so much.
Thank you.